question goes to Nicholas Hadley. Construction of a new school is now underway in Allegany County. In your opinion, is the size and configuration of the new school appropriate for our current and future needs? Why or why not?
Well, first of all, I'm very happy that that new school has been started. The construction is well underway, and they're doing a great start at this point. I do believe that the structure for the Allegany residents right now, as far as the Allegany students, is definitely adequate, with a little extra built in there. I don't think down the road that we're going to have any problem, accommodating new students. I would love to say that we would have an influx of hundreds of people into this community, and we would worry about that whenever it happens. But right now we are definitely adequate where we sit. The school, I think, is set to hold a little over 700, which is a state of Maryland standard, and I think that we're actually going to be okay based on the population that's in Allegany High School right now. So I don't think there's any question in my mind that we're ready.
Thank you, Nick. Laura Lee.
Thank you. It's my understanding that this school will absolutely accommodate the student population of Allegany, the current Allegany High School. I think there's a concern that if our student population continues to go down, and depending how rapidly, if that happens and how rapidly it happens, will this continue to be Allegany High School, or will there need to be a reconfiguration of the school building usage in our county? I believe there was some conversation about if the population of students continued to decrease, this could possibly be used as a middle school. If this building is built for 700 students, I'm not sure that sounds to me like it would be maybe conducive for the two middle schools to be combined into that building. Let me just say this, and that is, I really think that one of the most important things that the Board of Education is tasked with is to think in the future all the time. To whatever decisions they make, not only should be always in the best interest of the students first and foremost, but also they need to be very forward-thinking because of changes that may occur in our county, and to be really cognizant of that and plan for those kind of changes. So I can't say that I know that this is going to work well for Allegany in the future, and will the building need to be used in another way? I can't say that I understand that it can be. So I do have concern in that respect.
Thank you, Laura Lee. Tammy.
I know that in attending the board meetings when the school construction's been talked about, I know that they've done a great job of ensuring that they had committees and task force that went and looked at the statistics of what was occurring from a school population perspective, population growth in Allegany County. I know that there's some that say that our school population is decreasing, but I think what we have to consider is students that are in kindergarten, when they're going to hit high school, and what's going to occur when they get to high school. I know personally that my son, that is a senior in college now, went to Allegany High School 4 years ago, and I would not have my child in Allegany High School the way it is now. I didn't like it when he was there 4 years ago. They needed to do something, and I think that the school board did due diligence in determining that they needed to do something about Allegany High School. And at the time, with the resources that they could get, it appears that the best option was to build a new Allegany High School. When we get to the opening of Allegany High School, or the building, I guess you could say, when we get to the opening of that building, I think we will, as a school board, need to determine the best use of that building. But I believe that right now, if you look at the statistics of what is occurring, like Nicholas said, the high school, Allegany, will be able to house those students that are currently projected to be in high school at that time. And I think that the school will be a major asset to Allegany County. the technology that's going to be there and the ability for that to work in a green way, so to speak, is something that truly is going to make a difference in this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. The next question goes first to Laura Lee Farrell. What is your opinion of how our facilities are currently being utilized, and what does future utilization look like? How would you prioritize pending capital improvement projects, and is consolidation of facilities an option?
Well, I think that Fort Hill High School is not being used to its capacity. I understand that there's a whole wing of Fort Hill that is really currently not really being utilized. So to look at the capacity and how our buildings are being utilized, I think that's a very important question. I think that Mountain Ridge High School also is not completely being utilized. There are empty classrooms there. In lieu of that, how could that be reconfigured? As I said once before, it's so important for the board members to look to the future, and that's what we're talking about here, how to best utilize our buildings, because utilizing the buildings to the best that we can is going to be so critical to the money situation and what it costs. I think that would any changes be made? Well, I think that there's always that possibility, considering on, as we said, we don't know what the student population is going to be. A lot of whatever changes might be made will be determined probably by the number of students that we need to account for with our educational system. So there's many questions ahead still.
Thank you, Laura Lee. Tammy?
I think looking at the facilities that we have is important, because we need to ensure that all of our students have a safe environment to learn in, as well as a quality environment to learn in. Some students learn better in an open space environment. Some students learn better in closed classrooms. So looking at, as a board, looking at the facilities and also making sure that we understand the needs of that area and where that school is. There's some schools that need different arrangements and have different programs. Some have early childhood programs or special education programs, and we need to ensure that the facilities are used to the best that they can be for all of those programs. The pending capital projects that we have that the board looks at, I know that the board takes due diligence in ensuring that they prioritize those to ensure that they're at in an order that, again, focuses on the quality education as well as safety. I know even at the last board meeting, the discussion of the bridge for Bel Air, which I know is not necessarily a facility, but it is a piece of a capital project that needs to be looked at. And I think that those are the things we need to consider, not just the buildings themselves, but the area around the buildings, again, so that the children have a quality education.
Thank you, Tammy. Nick?
Well, I do have to say that I do believe that the middle schools and the high schools are being utilized to their utmost performance. I am a little concerned at some of the overabundance of kids that are in some elementary schools compared to others. I think if anything could be updated or amended, that would be some of the population within the elementary schools. I have no idea what will happen down the road as far as looking to redistrict or move or change, but I think that's where we would need to see the overall change. As far as the new Allegany High School, the idea is this school is going to open as a high school. The idea is that down the road, if we would need to look at combining with a consolidation, possibly taking the two middle schools was an option. I don't think we're going to see the high schools combined because there's a population, and I'm going to remain optimistic that the community is going to continue to grow, that we're going to need these three high schools. Okay? But when you talk about consolidation, you can't ever take that off the table there. That's not something I ever want to go through because I've lived through it. I was a student whenever that happened in the Georges Creek area, it is devastating. But we also have to look at what's the best for our students. If it means putting them together where they can have all of the current programs that are currently in force so we don't lose those programs, that's what it's about. It's not about a building, it's not about me, it's not about the teachers, it's about what's best for our students. So if consolidation is that, then that's what we're going to be about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick.